Most people believe their dogs adore them unconditionally. It's a comforting thought, one we rarely question. But what if that belief isn't entirely true? What if, without realizing it, your dog has been showing you signs all along that something in your bond just isn't right? That despite your love, your care, your routine, your dog might not feel the same deep connection you do? I know, it sounds harsh, especially if you've spent years believing that your dog's silence was just part of their personality, or that their aloof behavior was a quirk. We tend to interpret our pet's behavior through our human emotions. A look away? Must be shyness. Walking off after a meal? Maybe they're full. Choosing to sleep elsewhere? They just want space. But science and experience suggest something different. In this video, we're going to walk through subtle yet powerful signs that your dog may not love you the way you think. This isn't about making you feel bad. It's about bringing awareness. Because once you recognize these behaviors, you can begin to heal and reconnect. You can become the person your dog truly trusts, maybe for the first time. We'll talk about things like why your dog doesn't make eye contact with you, why their tail wags more for your spouse than for you, why they leave the room when you enter, or why they never seem to bring you the toy. These may seem small, but each of them holds meaning in a dog's world. A world built on body language, trust, and instinct. And if you're feeling uneasy already, you're not alone. Thousands of dog owners have watched videos like this and realized, painfully, that their relationship wasn't as mutual as they believed. But there's good news. A broken bond doesn't have to stay broken. In fact, science shows it can be rebuilt with the right steps, even within days. So stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only know how to spot the signs, but how to repair what's been lost. You love your dog, but does your dog love you back? Let's find out together. Let's start with something that often goes unnoticed, not because it's hidden, but because we misread it. As dog lovers, especially those of us who've had dogs our whole lives, we tend to see them through the lens of affection. We assume love. But dogs speak a different emotional language. And when that language signals distance, we need to listen. Your dog avoids eye contact. This one might surprise you. Eye contact between dogs and humans is one of the earliest signs of trust in domestication. Animal behaviorists have even shown that when dogs willingly meet your gaze, both your brains release oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds mother to child. Now, think about this. When you speak to your dog, do they meet your eyes? Or do they glance away, look at the wall, or walk off entirely? A quick glance away during training is normal. But a repeated, deliberate refusal to look into your eyes, especially during calm moments, is something else. It's not shyness. It's not distraction. It's discomfort. If your dog consistently avoids eye contact, even when you say their name in a soft, inviting voice, it likely means they don't feel emotionally safe around you. And when dogs don't feel safe, they can't form secure attachments. They don't wag their tail. When you come home, we all know the joy of being greeted at the door by a wagging tail. But what if you don't get that welcome anymore, or never did? A tail that stays low, still, or only moves slightly when you walk in the room speaks volumes. Even more telling is when your dog does wag, but only for someone else. Picture this. You walk in. No tail movement. Your spouse walks in 10 minutes later, and the tail goes wild. That contrast is not random. It's a decision your dog is making about who they feel most emotionally safe and excited around. And if it isn't you, that's something to pay attention to. The shape of the wag matters too. A relaxed, sweeping wag that moves the whole body signals joy. But a stiff wag, or worse, a wag to the left, has been linked to stress or discomfort, based on studies of canine brain activity. They never sleep in the same room as you. Many dog owners assume their dogs sleep elsewhere just for comfort. Maybe it's cooler in the hallway, we tell ourselves. But in reality, dogs are pack animals, and where they choose to sleep is one of the most instinctive indicators of their trust. In the wild, dogs curl up next to pack members they feel safest with, those they rely on for warmth, security, and protection. So if your dog consistently chooses to sleep far from you, night after night, even when your bedroom door is open, that's a message. They might feel safer putting distance between you. And that emotional distance can't be bridged by treats or toys. It has to come from rebuilding the foundation of trust. They leave the room. When you enter, this one can hurt deeply. You walk into the living room and your dog quietly gets up and moves away. It's not dramatic. They don't growl. They don't bark. They just leave. And it happens again in the kitchen, in the hallway, in the yard. You start noticing a pattern, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Dogs use space as communication. When they walk away, they're not trying to be rude. They're telling you they don't feel comfortable being close. Maybe you move unpredictably. Maybe your voice has a certain tone. Maybe they had a negative experience once and they haven't forgotten it. Whatever the reason, when dogs disengage rather than confront, it's a sign they're managing their stress by managing you. They won't take treats from your hand. Treats are one of the most basic, honest forms of communication between dog and human. If your dog refuses to take a treat directly from your hand, but gladly accepts it from another family member, that's not about appetite. That's about relationship. Dogs associate food with safety. So when they back away, even from their favorite snack, it means your presence feels stressful. They may sniff, then walk off. Or they might wait until you leave the room before eating what you offered. And here's the kicker. Even one instance of refusal can be meaningful, especially if it repeats. Each of these signs might feel small on its own, but taken together, they paint a clear picture of emotional distance. Your dog may not be acting out or misbehaving. They're just quietly showing you they don't feel safe enough to relax around you. But here's the good news. All of this can change. Dogs want to connect. They want to feel safe. And even if you've missed the signs until now, the next part of this video will help you start turning that around, starting with the time right after they eat. Feeding time is one of the most loving acts we perform for our dogs. You fill the bowl, call their name, and watch them come running with excitement. It's a moment of care, routine, and connection. Or at least, that's what it's supposed to be. But what happens right after your dog finishes eating might reveal something very different. Many dog owners assume that once a dog finishes their meal, they're simply content and want to nap. Or maybe explore. But when your dog consistently walks away from you, avoids sitting near you, or disappears into another room immediately after eating, it may not be about digestion. It may be about disconnection. Dogs are pack animals by nature. In a bonded pack, they don't just eat and walk away. They stick together. They rest in groups. They use that time after eating, when their guard is down, as a moment to be close. When your dog finishes a meal and chooses distance over closeness, it's a quiet sign that they don't see you as part of their safe zone. Think about this. Have you ever watched your dog finish eating and then settle down next to someone else in the house? Maybe it's your spouse, your adult child, or even another pet. They seek comfort, but not from you. And that difference stings, especially when you're the one preparing the food every single day. This isn't just about who feeds them. It's about emotional associations. Dogs don't bond over tasks the way we do. They bond through consistent emotional experiences, eye contact, calm presence, gentle voice, physical closeness. If your dog sees you only as the one who puts food in the bowl, but not as someone who provides comfort, they will act accordingly. In fact, researchers studying canine bonding behaviors have found that dogs are most likely to seek out physical closeness after meals when they feel safe and secure. Their digestive state leaves them slightly vulnerable, which makes them gravitate toward those they trust most. Now imagine you feed your dog, and instead of curling up near you, they retreat to a different room, lay under a table, or stretch out across the house. It's not a random choice. It's a statement. A pattern like that suggests your dog may not feel emotionally safe with you, at least not in a way that leads them to seek post-meal closeness. But here's something you should know. This behavior can change, and it often starts with you. Try sitting quietly near your dog after they eat. Don't reach out. Don't force a cuddle. Just be present. Use a soft tone. Drop a treat nearby without demanding eye contact. Over time, your dog may begin to associate your presence during this vulnerable moment as something safe, peaceful, even enjoyable. That's the first small brick in rebuilding trust. And if you're wondering why something as simple as post-meal behavior matters so much, remember this. Dogs don't fake connection. They don't pretend to like someone out of politeness. When they seek closeness after a meal, it's real. And when they avoid it, that's real too. So the next time your dog finishes eating, don't just watch the empty bowl. Watch what they do next. It might tell you more than you think. There's something comforting about the idea of your dog sleeping beside you, whether it's curled up on the floor, at the foot of the bed, or right next to your chair for an afternoon nap. That closeness feels like a silent confirmation. We belong together. But when your dog consistently chooses to sleep far from you, even when your door is open and the house is quiet, it can leave you wondering, why? This isn't about whether your dog prefers the bed or the couch. It's about a deeper instinct, one that goes back thousands of years. In the wild, dogs slept in tight packs, huddled together for warmth, protection, and security. They didn't spread out randomly. They stayed close to the pack members they trusted most. Domesticated dogs, even today, carry that instinct. They naturally gravitate toward people they feel safe with when they're most vulnerable, like during sleep. So, if your dog consistently avoids sleeping near you, it may not be about comfort. It may be about caution. Think back. Have you noticed your dog settling down for the night in a hallway, the kitchen, or a completely different room? Do they choose spots where there's furniture between you, or where they're out of your line of sight? These choices aren't accidental. They're strategic. To a dog, sleeping near someone means, I trust you to keep me safe while I rest. When they choose not to, they're saying the opposite. Perhaps not consciously, but behaviorally. And that behavior matters. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let's be fair. There are dogs that prefer cooler floors or certain textures. Some might avoid your room because it's noisy or too bright. But what we're talking about here is consistent, deliberate avoidance of your sleeping space, night after night, even when all physical factors seem inviting. One viewer recently wrote, "My dog sleeps anywhere but my room. Even though I keep the door open, she won't come in. Not even for a minute." That kind of pattern can be heartbreaking, especially when you're doing everything right, feeding, walking, loving, and still, you're not chosen. But here's the truth. Being the chosen sleep companion isn't about tasks. It's about emotional presence. Dogs are sensitive to energy, consistency, and tone. A calm voice, a predictable routine, and a safe atmosphere go a long way in making your dog feel secure enough to sleep beside you. So how do you turn this around? Start by simply being present in the spaces your dog already chooses to sleep. Sit quietly nearby. Don't call or pet them. Just exist beside them. Let them grow used to your presence in their safe zone. Over time, they may start to associate you with safety, too. Remember, trust isn't built in big moments. It's built in quiet ones, like where your dog decides to rest at the end of a long day. And when the day comes that they curl up beside you, not because they have to, but because they choose to, that's when you'll know the bond is healing. This might be the hardest part to face, not just that your dog keeps a distance, but that they seem to choose someone else in your home over you. You come home expecting a tail wag, maybe a little excitement. Instead, your dog barely lifts their head. Then your spouse walks in, and suddenly, that same dog leaps up, tail going wild, eyes full of joy. It's not just hurtful, it's deeply personal. And here's the thing, you're not imagining it. Dogs absolutely show favoritism, and they do it through clear, intentional behaviors. They approach that person for affection. They follow them around the house. They cuddle next to their chair, not yours. And when it's bedtime, they pick their room to sleep in, not yours. It's not about who gives more treats or who plays fetch more often. It's about energy, tone, consistency, and how safe, calm, and understood a dog feels around a specific person. And yes, sometimes it can feel like you've been replaced. One viewer commented, "My husband isn't even the one who feeds our dog, but she waits for him by the window every day. When I walk in, nothing." That's not an isolated story. It's surprisingly common. So what's going on here? Dogs read people. Not just what we do, but how we do it. They're tuned into our posture, voice, eye contact, and even our emotional patterns. Someone who speaks in a soft, steady tone and uses consistent body language will often make a dog feel more secure, even if they're not the one filling the bowl. Think about your household. Is there someone who naturally moves slower, speaks calmly, or maintains routines without much variation? That person might be unknowingly projecting pack leader energy. Your dog feels they can predict what will happen when that person is around, and that predictability builds trust. Now, if you're someone who's energetic, talks louder, moves quickly, or tends to shift between moods, that's not a flaw. It's human. But to a dog, it might come across as unpredictability. And unpredictability often equals stress. There's also history to consider. Maybe the person your dog prefers was the one who trained them early on. Maybe they were there during a key transition, like a move or a loss. Dogs remember emotional anchors. They attach meaning to people, places, and experiences. But here's what you need to hear. This doesn't mean your dog dislikes you. It means that, right now, they're more emotionally bonded with someone else. That can change, and with patience, it often does. Start by noticing how that preferred person interacts with the dog. Do they kneel down slowly instead of leaning over? Do they wait for the dog to come to them instead of reaching out first? Do they speak in a lower, more rhythmic tone? These small things add up, and you can learn from them. You can also begin creating positive associations with just you and your dog. Go for short, relaxed walks, where you don't expect anything, just explore together. Sit quietly in the same room, with no agenda. Drop treats occasionally, not to bribe, but to simply mark your presence with something good. Another tool, consistency. Feed them at the same time. Use the same words. Avoid sudden movements. Don't hover. Let them come to you. Over time, this predictability rewires their expectations and their comfort level. One of the most powerful research findings in canine psychology is that dogs prefer people who offer emotional safety over excitement. Sure, they may play with the fun person, but when it's time to rest, when they feel anxious, when they need to feel safe, they go to the one who feels calm and stable. You can become that person. And no, you don't have to change your whole personality. You just need to slow down, notice the small things, and start building new emotional connections, ones that belong to just you and your dog. Because as painful as it is to feel like second choice, there's something incredibly healing about becoming first choice over time. When your dog begins to choose your lap, your voice, your room, not because they have to, but because they want to, you'll know it was never about competition. It was about connection. And connection can always be rebuilt. By now, you may be feeling a mixture of sadness, guilt, and confusion. You've seen the signs. You've noticed the distance. Maybe you've even come to terms with the fact that your dog prefers someone else or doesn't feel fully safe around you. But here's the most important part of this entire video. It's not too late. In fact, according to behavioral science, trust can be rebuilt faster than you think. And it starts with the small stuff. Let's begin with something as simple as eye contact. You might have heard that when a dog looks into your eyes, it's a sign of love. That's not just a sweet idea. It's a biological fact. Studies have shown that when dogs and humans share gentle, sustained eye contact, both release oxytocin, the same hormone that helps mothers bond with their babies. It's called the oxytocin gaze loop, and it creates a feedback cycle of emotional connection. But this kind of eye contact has to be mutual, natural, and non-threatening. So here's a small step. Sit on the floor with your dog. No commands, no expectations. Let them approach you. When they do, just look into their eyes softly for a few seconds. If they hold the gaze, even briefly, you've just taken the first step back toward trust. Next, let's talk about body language. Dogs are highly sensitive to movement. Jerky gestures, sudden reaching, or looming over them can all feel intimidating. So try this. Whenever you want to approach your dog, crouch down instead of bending at the waist. Turn your body slightly sideways, which is less confrontational in dog language. Speak softly. Keep your energy low. Even if your dog doesn't come to you right away, they're watching. They're noticing the difference, and they're logging it away as new data. This person feels calmer than before. Another proven technique? Low-pressure positive association. Here's how it works. Instead of trying to pet your dog or get their attention, simply walk by and drop a small treat near them. Don't linger. Don't stare. Just let the treat speak for you. Over time, your dog will begin to associate your presence with something good, without pressure or tension. Now, about routines. Dogs thrive on consistency. In fact, unpredictability is one of the biggest trust killers in human-dog relationships. One day you're calm, the next day you're frustrated. One day you call them gently, the next day your tone is sharp. From your perspective, that's just life. But to a dog, that inconsistency feels unsafe. So here's your assignment. Pick 3 daily rituals and make them sacred. It could be feeding time, a morning walk, and a quiet sit together in the evening. Keep the timing as consistent as possible. Use the same words, the same tone, the same body language. Over time, your dog's nervous system will begin to relax around you. Not because you're doing more, but because you're doing it predictably. There's even research to support this. A 2022 study found that dogs who received consistent routines, even short ones, began to shift their tail wag direction from left, associated with anxiety, to right, associated with trust and comfort, in just a few days. That means your efforts don't have to take months. With the right consistency, your dog can begin to feel safe within days. And finally, don't chase. Let your dog come to you. This might be the hardest part, especially when you're eager to reconnect. But the truth is, trust grows faster in the presence of space. When you stop trying so hard and simply be there, quietly and calmly, you give your dog the power to choose. And when they do, that choice means everything. So whether your dog avoids eye contact, sleeps in another room, or prefers someone else entirely, don't lose hope. Connection isn't built overnight, but it can be rebuilt, one moment at a time. If you've made it this far, it means you care. And that's where healing begins. Maybe you saw yourself in some of these signs. Maybe you've realized your dog doesn't greet you like they used to, or that they sleep far away, avoid your gaze, or lean into someone else when they're scared. That hurts. It really does. But here's the truth. Your story isn't over. Dogs are forgiving creatures. What they need most isn't perfection. It's presence. Steady, gentle, predictable presence. Science tells us that trust can be rebuilt. Just a few minutes of calm, eye-level connection a day can begin to turn the tide. A short walk, a soft voice, a treat dropped without a word. These aren't tricks. They're bridges. So don't give up. Even if your dog has pulled away, even if they've chosen someone else, you can become their safe place again. It may take patience, but every quiet victory, one glance, one tail wag, one shared breath, brings you closer. And when they finally choose your lap, your room, your eyes, it will mean more than it ever did before. Want to learn the next step? Tap the video on screen. We'll talk about how to become the person your dog never wants to leave.